And welcome back to coverage here at Pro Tour March of the Machine. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon. We're drafting. Great format on our hands here, and we had a really sick draft from Reid. I mean, when we went over the rares, it's like, are you serious right now?
1, 2, 3, 4, okay.
Yeah, he's just knocking him out of the park there, solidified himself into black. We just saw his deck list before the break there. He is going to be sitting down, and Paul, this is pretty funny, against Nonthakorn Kositaporn, who is from Thailand. He's actually competed in the first World Magic Cup, which was in 2012. And, you know, we like to ask our players a bunch of questions and stuff. And one of the questions is, who would you like to play at the PT?
And Nonthakorn put in Reid Duke because he is the Pro Tour champion. And guess what? You fill it out, and now you get him round 1.
You got what you asked for, Nonthakorn. Yeah. Good luck, buddy, as you're facing down a bomby deck with you know, the champ. So this is going to be a tough one, but Nonthakorn's been around for a long time. Again, having represented his country at the World Magic Cup, and he's a name that you'll see quite often, a mainstay of Thai Magic, and he's no slouch. So he's going to give Reid a run for his money. Also, he brought me snacks.
Yes.
From somebody back home, he said.
We did try them the other day.
Yeah, we did. They were good. Thank you, Nonthakorn. Let's take a look at what he drafted here. Heavy green. Ooh! Invasion of Alara.
Is that really being played?
And 2 Galta and Mavrin. What?
This is okay. So when you first look at this, you go, "Oh, this is a decent green-white deck."
Yeah.
But then he went real deep here.
So he's playing Tribute to the World Tree and Invasion of Alara. Hold on a minute. Let me just. What's going on here? Yes, he is.
How is this mana going to work? That's my biggest question here, because he's got a lot of power.
So he's got Blighted Burgeoning and 2 Portent Tracker, and he's really leaning on that combo.
What if he doesn't draw the Burgeoning?
Leaning on the combo.
There's an Invasion of Alara there as well, hidden in that 4 mana, but this doesn't have. I don't see a ton of fixing there. I see 3.
No, he also is running Fertilid's Favor.
Fertilid's Favor, okay. Well, you know what? There's a lot of power there. If he draws his mana...
So, Invasion of Zendikar, Fertilid's Favor, Blighted Burgeoning.
And then a couple of Portent Trackers.
I'm not talking anymore, but that's what he's got.
Right.
He does have a Rugged Highlands.
Okay, and you know what? Reid might be okay playing against a deck like this, just because it doesn't look like Nonthakorn's putting on a ton of pressure early, because you're going to see a lot of different awkward draws here from his deck.
So the interesting thing to me here are the fact that Reid is relatively low on removal.
Galta?
And he's got 2 copies of Galta and Mavrin, which if it stays on the battlefield, completely dominates.
Right. So it's just Battle of the 7-drops here?
Or can Reid find his sweeper?
Yeah.
You know, Invasion of Furia might be the way that he can get out of it. But, you know, if Nonthakorn can just, you know, play a ramp spell, get down, you know, maybe a turn early or something.
Right.
Galta and Mavrin, it could just be it.
Okay.
All right, Drag Recycler is going to
Nonthakorn top
trade off.
So had to have been a land there, given the no lands in hand.
Okay, he finds his Portent Tracker.
Got 3 colors.
Etched familiar.
Need a white source to cast that Atraxa. Wow, Nonthakorn went deep.
He went off the late. Went off the deep
when I saw that Invasion of Alara, I thought it was just a typo almost.
Search for True Forest.
Oh. And 5 mana of Vorinclex is what the Nonthakorn has.
That's right. He just has Vorinclex, no comma, as we call it.
I mean, just when you read this card, you're just like, this just doesn't seem reasonable. It's a 5 mana, 6/6 trample reach that gets you 2 lands.
Have you ever seen the other side? It doesn't get any better.
Yes.
Not a lot of great news. And, you know, it's really interesting here. And by the way, Reid, you can see him going over it as well.
And Reid's not going to be able to kill that thing.
That's the point.
Right?
Right, like that is out of range. Again, I keep going back to Invasion of Furia for Reid, but like he can't draw that every game. He's not going to get to cast it every single game. And there's a decent chance here that just a single bomb like this goes unchecked.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, I don't know, I wouldn't call it desperation, but, you know, an untimely unseal the Necropolis here for Reid. He knew he had the Drag Recycler. He didn't have another target, but he actually hit a Gargantua, so okay.
Yeah, he really wanted to find an Aetherblade Agent there to at least have a blocker in play for that Vorinclex.
Right.
Because that's his only way to really deal with it,
This is not looking good for Reid.
Yeah.
I mean, just straight up.
Yeah, and Nonthakorn now has the mana to cast Tribute to the World Tree as well. Has the Cosmic Hunger if Reid does play something to get in the way.
Incubate 3.
Gift of Completion here for Duke.
So that's a couple of 3/3s, and will Reid just be priced in here to make a 3/3 and go for a double block? If he does, Nonthakorn has that Tribute there that could just completely blow him out.
Yeah, and Reid will be, air quotes, tapped out.
Yeah.
You know, in that case, he will not have the mana to cast his removal spell.
Okay.
And there's Tribute to the World Tree. This is falling apart quickly here for Reid. An unchecked Tribute completely takes over a game, and Nonthakorn's like, you can't do anything.
Oh, and Reid's got to go for it here.
This is desperation here from Duke. But again, he only has access to 2 mana, even when you consider Convoke.
And here's the Cosmic Hunger. Excuse me.
And that's going to punch.
Dies.
Surveil 1.
Surveil 1. This could be very important. Reid sees Nezumi Informant. That's not going to do it right now. He knows he needs to find his Invasion of Fioria plus a couple of lands in the next turn or two.
Does he trample for 3?
So 19.
Or not trample for 4?
For 4, it should be.
Imagine so.
I'll Surveil. And this 6 damage on it, right?
3 damage on it.
Fights a 3. Oh,
it's a bite.
It's a bite, not a fight, right?
Understood. So Surveil.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Reid quite aggressively put. Oh, he put it on top.
Is that an invasion? Maybe.
I mean, he's still a couple turns away. Yeah, Aetherblade Agent would be
land.
good.
Okay, he just wants to hit his land.
He also is missing lands right now, and Breach could be a way out for him. There's Furia.
All right, so
but she's not going to do much here.
Yeah.
Like 2/4. Yeah, Lifelink's cool, but you're just outclassed at the moment.
Reid is. Oh, there's a white source, so Atraxa online for Nonthakorn.
Let's see what Nonthakorn comes up with here.
Look at all those keywords. Look at all those keywords.
One for each color.
One for each color. That's right.
The Proliferate will absolutely be relevant here as well.
Right, as you get counters that are from the...
Although, where are they? Were they...
I believe you draw a card if you play something that costs 3 or more.
Right, so he must have just got the card? Okay. Yeah.
But that's just a lot of value there as well. I mean, Reid, at this point, it's kind of a invasion of Fiora or bust, but doesn't have the invasion,
that and land?
doesn't have the invasion, and doesn't have the land.
That's a tough spot.
Yeah.
Because his life total is going to fall quite quickly here.
Right. Now, can he go double spell here? No.
This is desperation, but this could keep him alive long enough, and drawing 2 cards plus your draw step is a way to get through. Also, let's not forget Breach the Multiverse next turn. Could find.
Now remember, Nonthakorn can just flip Vorinclex here. He does know about the invasion, right? So he goes, okay, well, if I can't kill you immediately, if I just flip this, will that win me the game?
Right.
Oftentimes it will.
Oftentimes it will, and then even if it doesn't, it prevents. It's hidden.
Right.
Because it'll be on chapter 1, and not a creature. But it looks like he is not going to do that.
All right, now this one is a smaller creature, so boom, all of a sudden you get a 2/3 and the 5/5.
Dude, this is gross.
Yeah.
Converter Beast, he now has a 2/3 from the Converter Beast itself.
He's just living his best life here, Marshall.
I am loving what
all the
Nonthakorn
colors
is doing here.
I'm just saying, why not just add the red and take the Niv Mizzets too?
I like his style.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Seriously though, there was 2, right? Like, come on, Nonthakorn, let's do it.
Proliferate.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
3 and 6.
How nice do you think Reid actually thought that was?
I don't think he thought that was very nice. I think he thought that was quite cold.
Yeah,
of him to do. Okay,
that's a nice combo.
So there's two options here for Reid. If he has his 7th land, which he does, then he can play Breach and see what happens.
And you're absolutely
If not, then he has to top deck Invasion, and that would actually be very good.
Right. Oh, but you can't name Legend. Oh, you can't go non-legendary.
He does have to blow up Furia.
Nonthakorn has the more powerful legends in play right now.
By a lot. Okay, it's going to be breach. Can he breach out of this situation? It still doesn't feel like he can, but maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, he's at 7. Nonthakorn's got some of his best cards in play already.
Like, let's say he hits a Galta.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, 10 cards here. What do we have? Nothing too great on Reid's side.
No.
And no Galta there from Nonthakorn's side?
Doesn't look like it.
Oh, that is a weak breach.
That's one of the weakest breaches I've seen. It's still normally good enough to win.
But not when you're this behind on board.
We needed some 12-12s.
Any creature in either graveyard.
So you have the entire graveyard to choose from, but again, Nonthakorn has 2 Galtas in his deck, did not flip any of them here on the breach.
That's a bit of a beat, considering that we're fairly deep into this game.
Yeah, and on Reid's side, what's the best card here?
He does
Ayara?
an Ayara. Could he transform it and try?
I'll choose Ayara and Finn.
And Finn the Fangbearer because it has Death Touch.
Right, and it puts them into play, correct? It doesn't cast them, right? Yes. So you don't get a trigger from the Furia.
Transform this one.
Okay.
And on end step there, Nonthakorn is going to transform his now 6/6 incubator token.
All right, is it time to flip? I'm just curious what Nonthakorn's looking to do on his side. Can he attack there?
For Vorinclex?
Yeah, right, because you have the attack with the flyer, right?
Yes.
So that's, and Reid's on 7, but you don't have a good attack with the Vorinclex anymore.
Right.
Can certainly try to get in with some of the other creatures that you have in play.
I wonder if what that attack actually looks like, because Reid is at 7.
Yeah.
And he is scheduled to take 4 in the air.
Right.
He only needs to get 3 in there, and Reid is tapped out as well.
Right.
Only card is Collective Nightmare to even consider here for Nonthakorn.
And
I think he's lining up his options as far as an Alpha Strike goes here.
Right. And it's not great. Well, so now you got to think about the Vorinclex. If the Vorinclex also gets in, right, then how will Reid block? Because that one has Trample, and that makes blocks kind of difficult here. Now, Furia does have Lifelink. This would put Reid up to 9, right? Once combat occurs.
Correct.
If Vorinclex gets it. Is that Galta?
That is Galta. So it was the next card. Or he had it in his hand, but yeah. That is nasty.
And he's got another rare in his hand.
He does, yes. Salia and the Gitrog monster to follow up his Galta and Mavrin.
Everything getting in.
The other thing worth noting here, Paul, on the transforming Vorinclex plan is that you do mill 10 on Chapter 1, and he already got milled for 10. Like, got to be a little nervous,
right?
And
now we have a 6/6 Trampler. I don't think Reid can block through all of this.
It does, and I don't think Nonthakorn thinks so either, because he lined all of it up.
He's just like, these are the normal blocks, but then wait, hold on, I got this Galta real quick. Let me just drop that.
I'd like another 6/6 dinosaur with Trample, thank you.
So 2 6/6 Tramplers getting in, and a 4/4 flyer.
This just has to be too much for Reid to endure.
I mean, Reid is just going to put everything just so he survives, so he can put himself in a position where if he top decks an Invasion of Fiora, he can get back in it. But I don't see it here. This just looks like way too much damage. That Ayara is sick, so you won't see Reid being able to activate the Ayara to gain some life.
Funny, this has to be Reid's nightmare matchup. Somebody with a greedy mana base who just put every 7 mana plus bomb into their deck, and he just can't answer any of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, he cast the breach,
has to sweep,
and he missed.
Right. The only upside are that his good cards get better, his breaches are better, and his sweepers better.
Right.
But, like, come on.
Yeah.
How is he supposed to deal with this? I mean, Nonthakorn is just pedal to the metal, make a bunch of colors and a bunch of mana, and put out huge stuff. Imagine if Reid had 4 removal spells. He'd just be like, oh, yeah, kill your Galta, no big deal.
Right. Although Galta is so huge, there's not too many removal spells that can actually kill it, right? Because when we talk about the removal spells in the format, even Realmbreaker's Grasp would want something like that.
Usually you think about the white removal and a few good black removal spells.
Deadly Derision.
Derision's the best common answer.
Merciless repurposing, right? From that's an uncommon.
Uncommon, yep.
Block.
Okay. Damage stick.
Yes.
Okay, Reid says block, and Nonthakorn
3,
says let's go to damage.
3, 6,
4, right?
7.
And trample for 2, 5, 6. And 3, 9.
Okay,
And
plus
you
gain
gain
2
2.
life, and I'm at 7, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Okay,
you're
good
dead.
game.
Yep.
So that's GG to Nonthakorn, who picks up game 1 in extremely impressive fashion, Paul. I mean, that was...
You get some style points in that one.
We kind of thought that Reid would be the one bringing the haymakers.
Right.
No.
No.
No. Nonthakorn had something to say about it as we zoom into game number 2 here. How does Reid's hand look?
Little slow.
That's horrible.
Okay, super slow, but again, Nonthakorn not with the most aggressive deck.
That's true.
Right?
Good point.
So,
Long game will happen most likely.
look at that render inert.
Oh.
Not sure if that's in his main deck configuration. However, against Nonthakorn, you see, for example, a card like Tangled Skyline. Excellent way to kind of deal with some of those incubate tokens.
Definitely. And this improved greatly over that last draw step. We see Iara on the battlefield now. And if Reid can follow that up with a creature, get Summoning Sickness off and start doing the thing,
Right.
can get pretty nasty. Also Reid's just a couple of mana away from transforming Iara. And we haven't seen much removal from Nonthakorn either.
Right.
He's too busy trying to get his own stuff on the battlefield, much like Reid.
Look, you have all those rares. You need mana fixing. It's like, just don't have room for the removal spells.
That's right. And it's true, though. He really just doesn't, right? Like, the mana fixing stuff just takes those slots.
Oh, best card in his deck, probably.
Light of Burgeoning is
Burgeoning.
clutch for him. That could open up a lot of doors for Nonthakorn. He passes the turn back. What a nice sequence for him there.
I wonder if Reid's just going to fire off this render inert if he has nothing else to do.
Just to see another card.
Can't just get that. Currently not a 2/2 creature, but it's still just a permanent on the battlefield that he has the option of removing. Doesn't have anything else to do. Okay. And playing this main phase because he does have some 1-drops in his deck. But does not hit a creature. Just the IR in the yard. So not the strongest unsealed in Necropolis.
Oh, this is a really bad start for Reid. Like, down a game, and now, like, he's just spinning his wheels, not really getting anywhere.
Yeah, Nonthakorn's got that Galta in hand.
5.
5 mana.
Incubate 5, gain 5.
And he's going to play Tangled Skyline.
Yeah, render inert. Render inert's going to be fantastic.
Target
there.
acquired.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Kill your 5/5, draw a card.
Yeah, it's going to put Nonthakorn up to 25. Life gain, probably not very relevant in this matchup. This
Right.
is more about board presence and bombs. There's a render inert.
No counters.
Oh, it didn't die.
Oh, right.
Okay,
It's still
okay.
just a permanent on the battlefield.
Right. If you transform it, it becomes a 0/0 and dies, but you can sacrifice it. You can do stuff. He did find a land and a 2-drop here with a Dreg Recycler. But again, this is outside of the Iara. This is all the low-end stuff here for Reid. He is leaning on that Phyrexian Gargantua hugely. That needs to power him into the late game.
2 cards?
Yep, 2 cards.
And not attacking here with the 2/2. Wonder what else Nonthakorn
Don't know if
has.
he's woken it up yet.
Well, right. So I'm wondering if he's got something here to play at instant speed.
Yeah, could be.
Draw 2.
Maybe Fertilid's Favor or something like that.
Yeah.
But so this is the big play for Reid.
Oh,
Did he
sure.
find what he
There's the
needed?
Moloch. Yeah.
Oh, very
Top
nice.
4 cards.
Really good
Sandstalker
card.
Moloch. When you can trigger it,
Yeah.
especially good. It's okay otherwise.
Right, right. It's a fine card to play, but then there's that upside.
Yeah, so he's going to, well, you can see on the screen there, he's going to look at the top 4 cards because Reid played a black card this turn.
So needs land number 7
And he can get a permanent.
to play Galta.
Oh, yeah, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do have to show him
Got the
because it
land,
is a
and
permanent.
so
It's okay.
now we're going to see a Galta here just get slammed down. Reid doesn't have a lot of removal in his deck.
No, he did just resolve his Gargantua, so, you know, Nonthakorn is going to have to consider what he could have found, but he's going to force the issue here.
Just Galta, get in with your 4/2, make another 4/4 trampling attacker.
Yeah, and they stay around, by
Get
the way.
in.
That's the
Yeah.
other thing about Galta and Mavrin is that we're used to getting these tokens and then they go away on end step.
Right.
This one doesn't.
Beat
And
downs.
4 dinosaur.
Get you for 9. And by the way, if Reid doesn't have an answer for Galta, get you for 12.
Yeah, and I'm curious.
Or 24.
I'm curious to see how Reid decides to block here, because he may already be in a position where he's starting to plan for, I need to draw my Invasion of Furia to even get out of this at some point.
Right.
And the situation that you want to avoid is that you take a bunch of damage and then you draw it. Yeah. Because if you need to draw it to win anyway, you have to sort of play accordingly.
And this block makes sense here. Reid, again, only has the Invasion as a way to kill Galta. There's no other card in his deck that can actually just get that off the battlefield.
Let's see what Reid can do with this big turn. Land Breach would be amazing, although we see he only has the land, so he'd need to top deck the Breach.
Now, he might be able to survive this turn. You can go Furia into Scornblade Berserker, and then you can trigger the Furia. Look at the top 3 cards, right? So you're digging, chumping, but then he has to find the answer.
Right. He would have enough mana to sacrifice the Berserker after a block on Galta as well.
Would have a 3/5 flying lifelinker, which, would that be enough? I think so.
You know, that hangs.
Right.
I mean, Galta will win that battle eventually, but you're around.
Yeah.
Cast and trigger.
So this is a good line here for Reid to prolong this game a little bit and try to get him to where he needs to go.
Invasion.
He's just thinking about Invasion
That's
and
the only
about
card.
Breach. Breach
Right?
and Invasion
yes, of
are the
course.
2
Breach
cards.
would be great too.
Enters the battlefield.
Put it on the lifelinker.
Back up.
So that's 24 trampled. Does the token?
No, it's only other. It's
Okay,
it's the biggest power among other attacking
Oh,
creatures.
got it.
And he just has Finn, so it's only a 1/1, but he does have access to the 2/2 that he can wake up there.
He can make a 2/2.
Yeah, but those aren't good against 3/5 flying lifelink.
Okay.
Just
Tribute.
So many hits in this deck here.
And he still gets to attack.
Right.
With Maverick, it's still 12/12. Like, the thing's just massive.
With all these 3.
And he can also just leave behind a bunch of 1/1s if he'd like.
Dinosaur with power 2.
He's just going to make another
Okay,
2/2.
so 2/2.
This one become the.
Oh, that's gross.
4/4.
Okay.
So he's trying to mark that it's a 2/2 at base, and then
With
he's
2
going to add
counters.
2 counters onto it.
Right.
Okay. You are blocked.
But really, this is an attack with a 12/12, and then
17/25.
Reid gets to eat up.
Yep.
So we're gonna
Either
see
a 2/2
we're
or
gonna see Furia go in front of the 4/4. Right, as it's a 3/5 lifelinker.
Yeah.
And then the 0/1 probably getting in front of the 2/2 because the Galta has trample. Sack to draw a card.
I don't. Does Galta have trample?
Galta does have trample.
Okay, so then he doesn't need to bother blocking that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, just look at it. If it doesn't have trample, I'd be very disappointed.
I would be too. Oh,
Okay.
this is interesting.
Perhaps playing around combat trick, maybe? Oh, there is a collective nightmare here in Reid's hand. Did draw his 1 removal
Oh,
effect.
Reid has the collective nightmare. Okay.
Yeah.
Block. Draw a card.
He's just going to sacrifice. Remember, the new Dino definitely has trample as well.
16
16,
and gain 3.
13. Down to
Yikes,
4.
that's a big hit.
That is, in fact, a very large hit here.
Oh, Reid found Etherblade
But
Agent, but
he's
he
at
needed
4.
it last turn.
He's at 4.
12 is
Breach
a very
and Invasion.
large. Yeah, Breach and Invasion.
Here we go.
Can Reid Duke find his way out here in round number 1? Gift of completion off the top.
Not going to be.
So now the
enough
question
here.
is, literally, can he survive this turn?
Right, because now we can copy the 4/4, right, and have 2 4/4s attacking.
Well, and then it would trigger the tribute, so a 6.
Well, no, it would
potentially-
draw a card because it's higher than
Oh, it's
3
power, not-
Yeah.
mana value. Right. I don't know how you get out of this. I mean, getting out of this is one thing. I don't even know how Reid survives a turn.
Yeah. So-
Normally, a 3/5 lifelink is
Yeah.
really great, but it's just being outclassed quite solidly here.
Yeah, I mean, Reid probably just needs to try to put 2 spells, cast 2 spells, trigger the Furia again, right? Look for something, but I just don't know if he has a card here that gets him out of it, considering that he's at 4. Now, if he had the Etherblade Agent in the previous turn, he would have still been in it, right? He'd be at 4, but all of a sudden, you wouldn't have to worry about the Galta. But now, I mean, we're looking at just a little too much damage coming in here, I think. Even if the Furia gets in front of the Galta, right?
Right, which is what you want to
big
avoid.
Toughness, you trample over for 7, and Reid would gain 3. So that would
on
put
its
him dead.
own is lethal,
right?
yeah.
And then he has to deal with 2 4/4s and a 1/3 Death Toucher.
That's a lot.
So you need to put...
And the 2 4/4s both will have trample, by the way.
3.
Right.
That's a lot. So he has to deal with 20 trample damage
That's it.
and then 1 regular damage.
1 regular damage.
And he does get to trigger Furia here thanks to double spelling off of Gift of Completion and Aetherblade Agent. But
What power
that
here.
costs 4 mana. I think he just found the invasion. He did.
And there's the breach in the yard. Ooh,
Breach in the
so
yard.
Close.
Look at Nonthakorn's hit face. So the question is, can the combination of at least 2 blockers, we'll call it 3,
He does
plus
have
Collective
Nightmare, so he can go
he be at
3/3?
1? That's the question. Can he
Right.
somehow defend against 20 trample damage coming across? -3 for collective post blocks.
So this one
5,
get,
8. He can put 9 toughness in
4/4
front.
dinosaur. This
Yeah.
is the 4, right?
-3, so that's
So 12.
12.
That's
Plus
12
3
thinking.
because
So
of his
15.
lifelink.
So that's
15.
15 versus
Yes,
20
trigger,
coming in. 19 of which is trample.
And he's at
You
4.
choose the mode of the trigger when it goes
20
on
of which
staff,
is
or-
trample.
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
He's facing 21
Tw- tw-
total damage.
21 damage
Yeah.
with a 1/3 Death Toucher.
Feels like he's going to be a couple short here, Paul.
Yep.
Is there a world?
I
No.
mean, no,
I was wondering if he could Collective Nightmare now to shrink the biggest other creature from Galta, which would make the new creature
But then
smaller.
you have to tap
But you
something
have
that
to
you
wake
have.
up your creature and tap a creature. Oh, he is going to do
He
this.
is going to do this.
So this would make this a 1/1, and that would
Yeah.
also make the new Dino a 3/3.
1, right? And
Right, because, so it doesn't do much, right? Because
It
now you
doesn't
get
do
the
much.
counters instead of drawing the card.
Right.
So now you have a 1/1 and a 3/3.
And you took a blocker off the table if you're Reid.
Right. Although blockers don't really matter because everything has trample, especially when you're tapping down a 1/1.
He took a 1 toughness, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the 3/3. Do you survive here?
I mean, that's what Reid's going for, but we saw him line up blocks last time and then say, yep, I'm dead.
trample for 7. 7, 8, 9.
And gain 3, and good game.
And that's going to
Yep.
do it. Nonthakorn asked for Reid Duke, got Reid Duke, and dispatched of Reid Duke in the first round.
Yeah.
What a win for him.
Right, I mean, it
that's
was-
insane.
Can you imagine? You put that down and you're just like, it was one of those be careful what you wish for situations, but
We
not
thought so.
really.
He knew something
But not
we didn't
really.
know. That is incredible victory there for Nonthakorn. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, and Reid even got to resolve his bomb, like in game 1, right? Cast a breach, not enough. Nonthakorn's deck even more powerful than what Reid has.
That's right. You know, they had a similar game plan in that they were basically removal-less or removal light, and they were trying to overpower the late game. But Nonthakorn's deck actually had more bombs and a bigger late game, which is kind of hard to imagine given what we saw Reid Duke open in the draft.
And this was something that we highlighted during the course of Reid's draft. It's like, okay, this is solid. It wants to get to the late game, but no removal whatsoever, right? And this was specifically that matchup where if he had a couple of ways to deal with that Galta, it would have been okay. But, you know, he obviously would have taken any removal spell that came his way.
Yes.
He just did not see any.
No, this was a nightmare matchup for Reid. This is exactly what he wanted to avoid, and now you see why. That was a loss for him in our first round. But he still has a very strong deck and 2 more rounds to go of draft here, so he is not done just yet. We are going to be taking a short break here, but we've got the news desk on the other side with a special guest host. Don't go anywhere.